Hello, lovely people, and welcome back to Carmela's Art Journey, the journey that is ours. Today, we are going to talk about colored pencils and how to use them. Well, coloring is a lovely thing, is a lovely way to make art. And here I have already prepared a page that I started coloring to show you a little bit of the effects. And you will see that this paper I am using is for drawing a little bit more structured. And I have also prepared a page for our future exercises, which is a very white one and very flat and smooth. So you will see the difference. Um, well, the thickness of the papers are similar. One is 150 gram and the other one, the whiter one, is 120 grams. But we are going to start with this first sheet. Well, what do we need for that to start? I first placed some tape to kind of create a grid or a shape that we can work in the spaces in this grid, and we need just some usual erasers like rubbers, very normal rubbers, kneading rubber, and a rubber pencil. Also, I have already decided to use a few color pencils. They are there's no watercolor pencil here, only oil-based ones and wax-based ones. About this, we are going to talk further down the line, and more specifically, you can learn in my courses of how coloring works, because I will prepare a course for you where we talk about all the details of this not very well known medium, which I actually love and is my favorite medium to work, I would say. Um, well, you will see here, I started very light in the first square. It's just one or two layers, maybe three layers, very light. You see, I am speeding up the process here so that we can get some of these squares done. And the most important thing here is that you go very lightly in the first layers so that we can put a lot of layers on each other, on top of each other, so that we can get gradients and details and a beautiful color blending. So why do we start that light? First reason I have already said, and the second reason is because it's easier to put on shadows than the highlights. So if you start slowly and smooth and light, you are able to keep your highlights out. You can use the rubber to make some more highlights or some details, but it's easier to start slow and smooth and then get some more pressure on your pencils so that you increase the shadows, especially when you have quite a few layers already, as we will see in this square here. In the first three squares, we saw the increasing of the layers and how they look like. Right here, I am increasing the pressure on the pencil to get the shadows. And why am I using light layers on each other in different directions? Because as you see, this paper, and this is a paper for drawing, it is a textured one. So you will see the texture under the coloring. So if you start on one direction and you put another direction on top of that very lightly, you automatically cover the gaps between the traces. So it makes all your coloring more even. Here I am putting more and more layers, as I said before, building up my shadows with the same color. So in the next one, we are going to use another color. I won't do the other ones as on the first row, um, because it makes no sense for the moment, because we want to see how it works with some other shadows and other colors, how they get blended together. So I am going to do like the last square on the first row so that you see how it works. Remember, light, light, different directions. You can apply your second color, or how many colors do you want? What do? You, to get even, to get your surface even, you return on one of the layers back to the lighter color that you started with. It helps you blend the colors. And you will see that I will do this in a bit. The reason why I put the tape, as I said at the beginning, to kind of limit a place where you can work. What happens here? In this exercise, the most important thing is paying attention on how much pressure you will put on the pencil so that you get really soft layers. So it's very important to exercise to get your hand used to the medium so that you can control how much pressure you put on the pencil. And so for us not to have to pay attention or worry about the shape, but only in the smoothness of the surface and how the pencil feels on the paper and how you start blending all the colors and the layers, that's where I decided to delimitate this space. Differently than you will see with the circles, that in the next video, or the next two videos, let's see, we are going to work on that circle and turn it into a ball. And, well, this kind of thing happens. I usually have a very, very thin tip, very long tip, and sometimes it breaks. That happens. Sometimes we have to correct a little bit where it got broken on the paper. In this case, not. It's not really very perceivable, I would say. But what can we do to get our pencil smoother again? Not for us not to see any traces that we don't want, we just use a sandpaper. In this case, I am using 1500 one, very fine one, just to get the tip of the pencil smooth again. As you can see, I have built up my shadows quite smoothly, and now I went back to the lighter color. And as you can see, and as I said before, you can use the rubber to put some highlights or to increase the highlights. As you can see here, I am using the kneading rubber to take a little bit of pigment away so that we can increase this light. One of the most important things that you should think before start drawing or coloring is, where does your light come from? Because this is exactly what defines where the shadows will go and the highlights will go, and that's where we define where depth happens and volumes. And now I'm showing you my main ways to work. And the first technique there is the back and forth. The second one is the one that I call the angel's hair, which is a circular movement, filling the gaps very smoothly. And I use this mostly to build up the shadows, especially when I want this rounder shape. This is the back and forth, and that's the angel's hair. Oh, well, I think that's us for today, and I take the chance to ask you to please like, share, comment, and subscribe as usual, so you help us keep on doing this. And stay tuned for the next exercises. I will show you the smoother paper, and I will show you how to do the circle to a ball. So, I think that's it, as I said, and don't forget to stay positive. Bye bye.